What if I told you I bought this stone house and 35 acres of land here in northern Spain for less than what a townhouse in Florida would cost you? This is Uncorked in Rural Spain. It's a place where we talk about what it's like actually living out here in the countryside in El Campo in Spain. I think a lot of people only talk about city life, so I'm trying to break it down, show you guys what life is really like out here in the countryside. And today I'm going to give you the real numbers on what we paid for this house and what we paid for the 35 acres, the rest of the mountain that we're on here. Maybe some of you came over from the Retirement Mentality channel. That's my other channel where I talk about retiring early, sort of the retirement mindset. I gave a contest over there. People can guess what I paid for the house. I'm going to shave off this big burly beard. For the rest of you who are just here to find out what we paid for this house and find out about life in rural Spain, I'm going to break it all down for you, give you the real numbers, what we paid for the house and the land. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we got here and how we chose this spot here in northern Spain. Let's get into all of it right now. Okay, first maybe I should set the scene a little bit here, tell you why we moved to Spain, how we got here, how we picked this area that we're in. Because for anybody watching this who may be thinking about moving to Spain or moving out of America or moving to Europe or just moving to another country, it ain't easy. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of selling everything you own. There's a lot of things involved in moving to another country. So, you know, we moved down first. Before we moved here a couple of years ago, we moved down to St. Thomas and we lived in the Virgin Islands for a couple of years, and we loved it and it was a great experience, but it was just too dang expensive. And we just kind of felt like, you know, there's a huge pain in the ass factor in a lot of places in the world, but you know, in the Caribbean, the power goes out all the time, and it you know, your power bill's $300, $400, $500 a month. Everything's just pretty expensive down, especially in the Virgin Islands. It was very expensive, and we just didn't feel like for the money we were paying that we were getting the value back, because the pain in the ass factor was so high. So we decided to leave the Virgin Islands and we went back to Florida. And after a couple of years being back in Florida, we just thought, you know, we need another adventure, and Florida is getting more and more expensive. And my wife is from Spain. She's up there on the balcony. That's why I'm pointing there. But my wife is Spanish. She's from Burgos, which is a city here in Spain of about 200,000 people. It's about 4 hours away from where we actually are here. But it was just kind of the first logical place. She's a Spanish citizen, obviously, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to get my visa, which is a whole long story that I'm not going to get into in this video. We're having some issues right now. But when we started thinking about a new adventure after the Virgin Islands, Spain was pretty much just the first place that we thought of. It's less expensive, it's beautiful, and with her Spanish citizenship, we zeroed in on Spain pretty easily. And how we got here to this location here in the Pyrenees Mountains is a little bit of a varied story in and of itself. We started our search. We wanted to be in the south of Spain, down on the Mediterranean, as most Americans and British and most expats want to be by the sea. And the Mediterranean climate obviously is wonderful down there. They do still get winters down there. A lot of people don't realize that it gets cold in Spain, and the water in the Mediterranean is always quite cold. We went in July one year, and I'm a big baby when it comes to cold water, and I didn't want to get in past my knees. My wife went for a swim, but not me. It was too cold. So that sort of kind of weighed on our decision a little bit, but we had picked out a house in Alicante province, not in the city of Alicante, but down in the south. We had picked out a house that we liked. We tried to buy it. We tried to get some owner financing. They wouldn't cooperate with us because we still had to sell our house in Florida. And we went home, put our house on the market, and the market in Florida wasn't doing good. And it took about 6 months of waiting, and our house hadn't sold. And all of a sudden, the house we wanted to buy in the south of Spain, someone bought it and snapped it up. So then we took our house off of the market, and we're like, well, what do we do now? And ultimately, we decided, you know what, let's just put our house, we need to sell our house if we want to do this adventure. Like, the timing is never going to work out perfect. So we decided to keep our house on the market and try to sell it. And then if it's sold, we'll figure it out. And that's exactly what happened. We sold our house. We had somebody put an offer in on our house. And then we were like, holy shit, what do we do now? So we had to figure out what to do. And my wife said, you know what, we have a couple rental properties in Florida, and we also have a house in Puerto Rico that we bought when we were living down in the Virgin Islands, which is also a rental property. And we thought, you know what, we have enough beach houses. Maybe we should get a house in the mountains, because we had been wanting to buy a house in the US in the mountains, but the prices had gotten so high, it got a little bit difficult. So we started thinking, Spain has beautiful mountains. Let's look at some mountain properties in Spain. And that's how we found this house here. We started looking online, and I found this house online. We knew nothing about the area. the way I found it, I put best fly fishing rivers in Spain, and the Aro River came up as one of them, and I can hear it flowing right down there in front of my house. Part of our property is frontage on the river. So when I started looking for properties on the Aro River, this one came up. It had great views, and we knew nothing about the area, so we flew out here and did a little experimental trip to check out this area. We loved it. It's got a cool mountain vibe to it. The people are pretty chill and laid back, and like as I said in the beginning, we have a bunch of land here with this property. So that's how we ended up here in this specific area and in Spain. And maybe I should show you the house that we sold in Florida. And then we've got huge living areas. You've got all this huge sectional set up over here. And then you've got a second little seating area set up over there. We've got a big formal dining room. You can easily, this is set up for 6 people. You could easily probably fit 8 here. So come on into the kitchen. Again, everything brand new. You got the white quartz countertops. They went with the black, all custom cabinets. Range hood that's got a remote control. They did everything really nice in here. Windows all across the back here so you can see out to the lake in your own backyard. It's not very many opportunities you get to live at the beach and have a lake in your backyard. So let's go outside and take a look. You are just 1 block across the street from the beach. So we've got some outdoor seating covered under the porch here. And then you've got some outdoor dining here. There's a fire pit. You can sit over there on the cool evenings and have a fire. There's a full outdoor shower set up here. And then the best part of all, your own private dock you can come sit on. You can fish out here. There's huge largemouth bass in the lake, perch, bluegills. There's big lake carp. I've seen lake carp this big getting caught out of here. So it's tons of the sunsets right back over here. I'll pop in some sunset pictures for you, but beautiful sunsets in the evenings out here. And then if you just walk right across the street, you're at the beach right there. And if you walk about maybe 5 minutes, you've got Pier Park right over here. So you've got access to fishing off the pier. You've got access to the only place where you can legally take your dogs on the beach. You've got all the bars, all the restaurants, all the shopping of Pier Park, just all within walking distance. That was a quick look at our house in Florida that we sold. That was the real estate video that I shot when I was selling the house. I was the realtor in my previous life. I was the realtor in Florida. So we sold that house for just under $700,000. Okay, let me show you around the property a little bit. I already did a full house tour in a previous video, if you saw that. So I'll just do a little quickie tour here. We've got a couple of cool outdoor seating areas. This is where I'm just sitting here now. And if you look down there, that is the river. That's not the best angle for the river. There's an olive tree. There is the river flowing out the back door. We just had a bunch of rain last night finally, so the river is running very high today. So let me take you around here. We got a couple more big, beautiful olive trees, a couple 100 years old. And we've got another little sun lounge area here. We just got the umbrellas delivered yesterday, so it's finally complete. And the tables looks very cute. And we're in the front of the house here. And I'll run you up here. We've got a fire pit area. Behind all this debris, I've been clearing some land. So we've got a lot of trees cut down. And we've got, this is my outdoor grilling area here. Everything's all wet from the rain last night. And we got a little seating area and a little hammock. And then the property goes way up the mountain here. I'll show you some of that in a minute. All right, and I will take you inside. So here is the living room. And We've got a big dining room table, open kitchen floor plan. So we've got big tall ceilings with these wood beams. We love it in here. And what sold us on the house are these views. Now you can see the river pretty good. And we've got some mountain views. This mountain here is covered up with the clouds. You can't just barely see the peak poking out right there. But those are our views. And then downstairs we have 4 bedrooms. There's 2 bathrooms in the house. So it's probably about 1,800 square feet. So there is a little look at what the house looks like. Okay, I wanted to bring you up here and show you a little bit about what the property looks like too. Down here on the lower half of the mountain, we have mostly these big old oak trees. Look at this guy. He is a dandy. So it's mostly oak trees down here. I'm trying to take out some of the smaller trees and bushes down here on this part of the property and make this look a little bit more open, like a park. So it's getting really pretty down here. As you go up the mountain, it turns into more of a pine forest, and there's big, huge pine trees up there. We've got some big boulder fields. There's a lot of cool stuff going on the property here. So I want to bring you up here and show you a little bit about what the land looks like. Before, we're getting close to telling you what we paid for everything here, but I've been spending 3 months cutting trails and clearing land, and we're having a lot of fun with the property. So before I tell you what we paid for this house, I thought maybe it'd be fun to compare it to a house in Florida. So like I said, I own a couple of rental properties in the Panama City Beach area of Florida, which to be honest is a little bit of a less expensive area in Florida. South Florida is a lot more expensive. So one of the properties I own, I'll pop up a Zillow thing on the screen here. It's a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse. It has absolutely 0 yard. It's got a patio in the back of it, big enough for 1 chair and a little barbecue pit. And I have it as a long-term rental right now. And as you can see on Zillow, it says it's worth about $300,000. And that is more than I paid for this house on 2 acres, because when we bought this land, initially the house came only with 2 acres. And the realtors had told us that the people who own all of the property behind us and 5 acres down on the river were wanting to sell, but we had to buy it all as a package deal. And one of the reasons that, one of the main reasons I wanted to buy it, well, one, because I thought it'd be awesome to own my own mountain, but also the road that comes up where I just was, they have an easement to go up there to drive up to the top of the mountain. Not that there's the road, well, there's a road halfway up there, but they had an easement to come all the way up my driveway and access all of the land behind me here. And on the top of the mountain, it's actually zoned for logging, so they could go up there and log off all those pine trees up there. And also, we just found out, I just met the neighbor who, we grow hay down on the lower 5 acres and we sell the hay to him, and he uses the hay for his sheep. But he said his brother used to run cows up here on our property, what's now our property, and he hasn't done it for the last couple of years. But I have seen a lot of cow poop up there, old cow poop, dried out cow poop, and I thought, I wonder what when they were running cattle up here. And so he just told me they'd probably be interested in paying us to run their cattle up here next year, which we're not sure if we want to do or not, because I like to go up here. I don't know if I want a bunch of cows up here running around. And if I didn't own it, they could run their sheep up here, they could run their cows up here, they could log all that. So that's part of the reason I wanted to have control of all. Sorry about that, battery died. Let's cut to the chase and talk about the numbers. Okay, so the big reveal. So what did we pay for this beautiful stone house? On the 2 acres, when we first bought the house, we paid 275,000 euros just for the house and the 2 acres. When we bought the house, that was back in January. I want to talk a little bit about the conversion rates here in a second too. But then the rest of the land that we bought, the 35 acres that we bought separately, we paid 35,000 euros for that land. So in total, 310,000 euros is what we paid for the land. That doesn't account for the taxes that you have to pay here in Spain, which run about 10%, but by the time you pay the lawyers and the taxes and everything else. But also the conversion rate. We bought the house in January when we flew out here to do our little exploratory mission. And so when we bought the house, the euro to dollar exchange rate was 1.04. So that was pretty good. We actually hit 0 at some point when we were they were even, the dollar and the euro, and we were transferring money back and forth. So now the conversion rate as of today is 1.17. So 1 euro is equal to $1.17. And between 1.04 and 1.17 on $310,000, which was the total of what we paid for this house, is a $40,000 difference. So that is a big deal. We got pretty lucky on the timing of when we bought the house that we were able to save that extra 40 grand that we would have to pay if we were buying it today. So those are the numbers of what we actually paid for the house and the land. You know, obviously part of our motivation to move here was geo arbitrage, to find a less expensive way to live. And by selling our house in Florida and paying off that mortgage, we had about $500,000 left over. So after all the taxes and the conversions and the euro to dollar and everything else, we had close to $200,000 left over after selling that house, paying cash for this house, buying the land. So, you know, we zeroed out a $25,000 a year mortgage. I did another video where I talked about how much our homeowners insurance and our taxes are on this house, way lower. You can go check out that video about what it cost me to live in, my monthly expenses, if you want to check out that video. But it's not just about the money also, it's about the lifestyle, it's about the way of life here in Spain. And we have been having, maybe me more so than my wife, I have been having a ton of fun just clearing trails, clearing land on this property, making it look nicer, making it more useful. It's going to be a never-ending project. We had a guy out here yesterday to give us a quote for maybe starting an outdoor kitchen out here. We got to go to the city and get permission because this is rustic land. And if you're thinking about moving to rural Spain and you're looking at a rustic finca and it has a rustic finca designation, you're not allowed to do anything. So we got to get permission before we can do anything up here. There's a lot of things to consider. I did another video about the truth about living in El Campo. You can go look at that video. But tell me what other things you guys are interested in. I'm doing this channel to help you guys that are maybe thinking about making a move to Spain. Are you interested more in the buying process of buying a house, what it's like to pay cash, how to transfer money, the pitfalls, the things, how long did it take? Are you more interested in just the lifestyle out here? Are you interested in the Pyrenees Mountains? Are you interested in village life? Tell me what you guys are interested in. It gives me great ideas to make new content, and if I want to make the content that you guys want. Thanks for watching this video, and maybe if you're interested in my monthly expenses, go watch this video next, and I'll see you in the next one.